back to another pretty special 1/6 scale figure review. Today we have Kurt Cobain by Blitzway. And this was pretty much a real big surprise for me. I had no idea Blitzway were going to do this, you know, pretty much a big surprise announcement. Kurt is one of my favorite singers. Nirvana is one of my favorite grunge bands. And I think Blitzway have done an amazing job here. And it comes with actually a fair bit of accessories. I'm not going to display them all and swap them out and all that. I'll just do a couple of poses and just talk about the figure itself. Because there are a lot of other people that are going to do swap outs and show articulation and all that. I don't really like doing that. And also something else to add, I do have the Blitzway Hendrix. You know, I love Hendrix as well, so I'll put those two side by side and see comparison wise. And also, if you can see just down there, I've got the Tyler Durden from Fight Club. That is by Blitzway as well, so I might bring him out, do a little comparison of them, and yeah, just talk shit about the figure and hopefully some of my wishes with other artists, not only just from this era but from other genres as well, because I would love if Blitzway to do just a whole line based on musicians. And the Hendrix and the Cobain here are a really good start. So if you guys do enjoy this, make sure you like and sub, and we'll get right into it. So we'll start off with the secondary head sculpt that is not on the figure when you unbox it, and it is the closed eyes with the cigarette in mouth. And I moved the mic from just before with the intro to obviously pop the cigarette in, but kind of it's a little negative for me is you can only have him pose like this with the cigarette in mouth, because once you take it out, and I'll pop it up now, so that's the cigarette there, you can see he's got this hole in the mouth, and I would have loved to have had him like this singing with his eyes closed, but you have to have him pose with the cigarette. So that might be a bit of a gripe for some people. You can pose it away. If you see my intro again, I kind of had the mic right up on his lips to cover that hole. But yeah, you're gonna have to probably work around it if you just want him without the cigarette. I'm most likely going with the second head sculpt anyway, because I think that one is amazing. But this one is no slouch as well. This one's really good. And just a quick shot of the guitar there. It's all pretty good. Some of the fret lines and dots are a bit inaccurate, but you know, it's fine for 1/6, I guess. The actual strings are fishing wire style. So if you have the Hot Toys Eric Draven, for example, it's similar to that. Or if you have the previous Blitzway Hendrix, it's exactly the same. Thankfully, these ones are intact. My Hendrix one of the chords is a bit loose, but considering Hendrix's guitar style and his playing, you can kind of pass it off. You obviously got the Fender kind of mock branding there called Bender. Not really the biggest fan of that, but you know, licensing and you gotta work around it, so it's a tricky situation, I guess. Just quickly pan down to the stitched jeans. Looks pretty good, pretty accurate. Going down to the converse. Oh yeah, and it comes with the sunnies, the kind of goggle glasses that Kurt regularly wore. However, I don't think he wore it during this concert, because this attire is based on the Roseland Ballroom, and I'm pretty sure he didn't wear those sunnies, only in the rehearsal runs, I'm pretty sure he did. And he's not wearing the same clothing in that. And I'll quickly pop up a picture to see if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure I am on that. But it's there. Obviously, it's a cool, iconic look, so I'm not complaining that it is added. Also, because he comes with a second head sculpt, you could probably get 2 bodies and change the clothing up. The unplugged look is also a pretty iconic look as well. One of my favorites. Blitzway have done a 1/4 statue on that. I'm not too sure if I would have preferred that over a 1/6 of this version. I'm not too sure, because I do love this backstory and the whole... Well, not only the backstory of the shirt, the actual backstory of this concert is pretty grim as well. People that don't know, Kurt OD'd, and I think was pronounced dead the morning of this concert, and he had to be revived, and then after all that shit, he puts a stellar performance that night. So, I don't know. I don't know if I would have preferred the unplugged version, or even the live and loud. I think maybe because, again, the backstory of the shirt and that night. I'm not fussed. I really love this version. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to swap out the head sculpt and pose him a bit different so you can see the sweater and the clothing a bit more. And just talk a bit more about the proportions. So we'll get right into it. So we kind of got an awkward pose here, which I believe he done one of these poses in one of the photography shoots around this time. He was wearing this sweater. All you need is like Dave Grohl peeking over the shoulder and Kursk on the bottom here. But this is a good opportunity to actually see the sweater. And I think the sweater's pretty good. Although, specifically looking at that promo shot, the shirt is really, really tattered and frayed and damaged. Which, to be fair, I think the way Blitzway went around it is probably the better way. Because a fabric material like this overcut, it's just going to unravel throughout time. The more you move it, the more you pose it, it's just going to fray and break. So I think the happy medium that Blitzway have done here is just fine. And just an overhead shot here of the shoes. They got the incorrect Fugazi spelling, which is kind of a dig at Eddie Vedder. I love that they've done this, and I'll pop up quickly the original shoes that are still around in your museum, so you can really get a close look at the accuracy of these, and Blitzway done a fantastic job. And also just quickly, the base is really, really nice. You got the signature there. You got one of the plugs that you could put the mic stand in, instead of having the separate one. And it's kind of the base of a guitar here, which is nice. And you got the frets all around in a circular motion. And then you got one of Kurt's diary entries. I'm not too sure which one it is, but that's definitely one of his diary entries. And before I get into some comparisons, just a few little nitpicks that I've discovered more. For one, the mic stand, particularly if you got it in the base like this, doesn't really plug in the best. It's a bit wobbly, and it would have been a bit better if Blitzway done this version of the plug, the actual stand. This can't come off, it's always on an angle. So you constantly got the mic hanging off on this side, while I think it probably would have been better to have it dead in the middle. And as well, the stage pass is empty. I just seen that now. I do know in most of the photos it is on the blank side, but it would have been nice if Blitzway were able to put the in utero stage pass. Maybe it was a licensing thing, maybe they don't have the rights to get that album art on the stage pass. And also, this boy is pretty big for a 1/6 scale figure. It's scaling at 12.5 inches. So it's going to be interesting now when I cut to comparisons to Hendrix in particular, because Hendrix was much taller than Cobain. So I'll go and cut away and we'll see how this scales. So we got the Blitzway Kurt Cobain next to the Blitzway Hendrix, which came out a couple of years ago. I'm still not the biggest fan of that head sculpt. It's more the paint, I think, that is messing up the likeness, and the hair. This, out of all my figures, I think I need to pull the trigger and get either a custom sculpt or get that rooted hair and paint fixed. Because I think everything else is really, really good. And height-wise and height comparison, I've got them both pretty bent and hunched over. But the Hendrix is 12.2 inches and Cobain is 12.5, and yes, they're in kind of dynamic bent over poses, but I feel maybe I need to change the body on the Cobain one. As a matter of fact, as of now, I've already ordered a replacement body. It's the In-Art Joker body I found on eBay, so I pinched that and I'm going to do a body swap. Because I'm pretty sure Cobain was my height, 5'8", with back problems as well, and that made him more hunched over to like a 5'6", 5'7", compared to Hendrix. Hendrix was like pushing almost 6 foot, especially with those heels. But yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a scale problem. But I think on face value, if you got them both in little poses like this, I think you can pass them. You know, I think they don't scale too bad, but if you're going to have them both standing straight, I think that's when you would see the big, drastic difference in height. And yeah, just speaking on musicians, I hope Blitzway dive into more iconic musicians. If they're going to continue the grunge, I would love an MTV Unplugged Lane Staley from Alice in Chains. One of my favourite bands. Probably out of all the grunge artists, Lane is my favourite. Cobain is a really close second. I would love a Lane, especially having him in the stool, singing Down in a Hole with the pink red hair. That would be awesome as a figure, to be honest. And then maybe an Ozzy Osbourne would be actually really awesome too. I love Ozzy. I know In-Art are stepping into doing Michael Jackson, and I think Iconic Studios are doing Elvis Presley. I've kind of fallen out of love with MJ, to be honest. I did like him as a kid, but as an adult, I don't know. Some of his antics I can't really pass. And Elvis, yeah, in the same boat, to be honest. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. Overall, I love this figure. It's such a good representation of Kurt. And if you do love Nirvana, I would say hop on it, because Blitzway do not do reissues. It's very, very rare. Actually, I don't think they have on their track record ever re-released a figure or doubled up on a character. We've got the 1/4 and the 1/6, and I doubt we'll get anything else in the future. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing else needs to be said. It's just a great piece. So if you guys did enjoy this, make sure you like and sub, and I'll see you in the next one.